والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين على مر الأيام والليالي والشهور والسنين أما بعد. We continue in the Kitaab At-Tawheed on this date, or the time now, 6:41 p.m., Sunday, October the 28th, 2018, which is a direct correlation to now. It's the 18th of Safar, or the 18th night of the month, as far as the Hijri calendar of Safar, the month called Safar, which is the year 1440 after the migration of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. And we continue Kitaab At-Tawheed. We were speaking, or rather we arrived to the last part of the chapter. You'll find that we've stopped at the masail, or the matters that the great Imam mentioned in the last part of the chapter. You'll find that he mentions these matters in the end of the chapter so the talib al-ilm can acclimate itself of extracting the benefits from the text that we cover. How does one extract those benefits? How he utilizes the text in order to extract those benefits which benefits him in his belief system and in the religion itself. Because some people, walillahi alhamd, everyone has different, what they call different madarik, and different dhaka, or their intelligence is on different levels. Some people, walillahi alhamd, are memorizers, and certain people are able to extract benefits from different texts, in contrast to people who just memorize. So you notice that the great Imam, he extracted the benefits and the fiqh of what you would take from the text of what one has studied throughout the chapter. So in the end, he mentions these matters so your mind can now have a keen sense towards trying to extract the benefits from those texts and from those narrations and ayat that we mentioned. So that's what you'll find he is acclimated in doing this, and at the end of every chapter, in order for the student of knowledge to be acclimated towards doing this, so he can attain the full benefit as much as he can. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So the matters that he mentioned in the last part of the book, we stopped at the matter of what it said. Oh man, where am I at? As we're in the Mas'ala al-Thamina. As we arrive to it says, in the last, or the 8th matter, أَنَّ الْغَشْيَ يَعُمُّ أَهْلَ السَّمَاوَاتِ كُلَّهُمْ. We go back just a little bit. Let's start at 5, just to reiterate what we mentioned. He says the 5th matter, أَنَّ جِبْرِيلَ يُجِيبُهُمْ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ بِقَوْلِهِ قَالَ كَذَا وَكَذَا. He said that Jibreel answers the angels after that by saying, he said the truth, al-haq, وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ الْكَبِيرُ. As we talked about, Jibreel alayhi salam is entrusted with the wahi, is entrusted with the revelation and bringing it down, in which Allah Ta'ala reveals to Jibreel, or he gives to Jibreel. And we know that Jibreel, as it says in the narration, passes by each heaven, which is a clear indication that the heavens are more than one. Rather, they are 7, as we know. As there are seven heavens, just like there are 7 earths. It's been affirmed that in the book of Allah, likewise in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, not only is there 7 heavens, there are also 7 earths. So Jibreel, like he said, he passes by each heaven. And each heaven, as we talked about last class, has its own inhabitants from the malaika, from the angels. That each heaven have malaika mutakhassisun. That each heaven has its own inhabitants of the angels who occupy or inhabit it. So, each heaven, like we said, Ya ma'ashal ikhwa, which are 7, Jibreel passes by them and they ask, after they have been rendered unconscious or in a state of horror and fright, what did our Lord say? And they asked him, alayhi salam, and he said, al-haq. He said the truth. and He's the Most High, and He's Al-Kabir. We said that the meaning of Kabir last class breaks down to two meanings, right everyone? We said Kabir can mean the actual meaning, because Allah Ta'ala truly is bigger than everything. Allah Ta'ala is akbaru min kulli shay. Allah is bigger than everything. He encompasses the creation in every state, in every aspect. Knowledge, being all hearing, all sight, and He in His essence is bigger than everything. As I even heard that benefit myself from the great Imam al-Shaykh Ali Nasr al-Faqihi, when I visited him one day at the Mujamma' al-Quran al-Kareem, meaning where the Quran al-Kareem is printed, all these masahif that we have in all our masajid. And I visited him because he's the mudir. He's still to this day, I think he's still the actual director or the principal or not the director, I would say like the head of the one who prints the mushaf, who prints the Quran. At any rate, I went to visit him and I walked in the office. It was me and Abdullah al-Lahmami, Hafidhullah, from the UK. So it was me and Abdullah al-Lahmami. We entered upon Shaykh Ali Nasr al-Faqihi. And we asked him, and he gave us a benefit. He says, even from the aspect of the aql, of the aspect of the intellect, even though they claim they use it and they glorify the aql, they glorify the intellect, he says even from the aspect of the intellect is rejected of what their claim. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bigger than everything. And that's the point of reference or the point of evidence that he used. He says Allah is bigger than everything. It's bigger than the footstool, He's bigger than the arsh. And we know of the size of the arsh and the footstool of Allah. It's huge, undescribably huge, and tremendous, and magnificent. If the seven heavens and all that is between them, which is the distance of 500 years for each heaven, 500 years, and the footstool in comparison to that is like the ring thrown in the middle of a desolate desert. That's just the footstool. In comparison to the seven heavens and everything that is in of the creation, and the footstool encompasses everything. And now the footstool in comparison to the arsh is what? Similar to that. Like the little ring that's thrown in the middle of a desolate desert. And then the arsh, as we know, as Ibn Abbas mentioned, la yuqaddaru qadaru, that it cannot be measured due to the great magnificent size of it. And it's also the saqf al-makhluqat. It's also the roof of the creation. And he says that Allah is above the arsh. And Allah Ta'ala is bigger than everything. Allah subhanahu jalla fil ula is bigger than everything. So, being that the case, you'll find that Jibreel and the angels, like we said, they are rendered unconscious. Then they regain it. Then, like we said, they ask the question to Jibreel, what did our Lord say? And he says, Al-Haq, and he is Al-Ali Al-Kabir. We also said that the meaning of Kabir from the last lesson, what did we say that it means, everyone? It means the one who's Dhul Kibriya. I totally forgot. Dhul Kibriya. There was something I wanted to mention. I just came to my mind. Dhul Kibriya. The one who possesses that pride. The characteristic of pride. The characteristic of Kabir can also be Mutakabbir. Because Allah Ta'ala is the one that has the characteristic of Al-Kibriya. Al-Kibriya. Al-Kibriya meaning Allah has the characteristic of pride. Of pride. That's a characteristic that is complete for the Creator, not the creation. So that characteristic befits the Creator, but however, it does not befit the creation. That's a characteristic of imperfection for the creation, not the Creator. For the Creator owns everything in the heavens and the earth. So it's befitting for Him to have pride. But as far as the creation, ultimately He does not own anything in comparison to Allah. If you compare it to Allah Ta'ala, He does not own anything. Rather, it's given to Allah Ta'ala, and He give it to His servants to see how they would conduct it. And also likewise, Allah made it clear that Kibriya uridai, that pride is my what? Is my robe. Whoever contests with me, meaning you try to have that characteristic along with me and contest with me in that matter, what? I'll cast you in hell. May Allah Ta'ala preserve us. So Allah said, Al-Qaytuhu fi Jahannam, I'll throw him in hell. So like we said, the characteristic of pride befits the Creator, not the creation. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. we also mentioned and said from last class the meaning of the word aziz or iz, as we said, right, everyone? The word iz, the iz, that it means three meanings. Aziz can mean what? Number one. No. ممتنع أن يناله أحد بسوء. He said that it's impossible that anyone can what? What do we say? Anything. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Anything of evil or anything can overtake him. Tabarak wa ta'ala. That's one of the meaning of aziz. He says, ممتنع أن يناله أحد بسوء. That's impossible that evil or anything can overtake Allah. It's impossible. It's impossible. Mumtani'. And as we know, the word mumtani' means mustahil, means it's impossible. And that's a refutation against the Christians where they said that it's still that they're evil and good, that Allah is in fight with the devil, and all this nonsense that they say, that the devil and Allah and God are in a fight with each other. That which makes absolutely any sense. How does Allah create the shaitan and then they're fighting? As we know, Allah Ta'ala has made that clearly in his book, that he granted shaitan had to ask him permission to lead the people astray. And Allah granted it to him for a reason. But to ask permission to someone is to ultimately show what? To show what? That you're submissive. You still are unfair. Ultimately. He had to ask permission from Allah. And Allah had to grant it to him. And on top of that, shaitan knows ultimately his abode will be, the punishment will be hell. As Allah Ta'ala says in his book, in Surah Ibrahim. So all this nonsense that the Christians say, for example, in their books, that there will be a struggle between the devil and God is all absolute nonsense. If Allah Ta'ala wanted to destroy everything in the heavens and the earth in the blink of an eye, he could do it or less. You understand, everyone? As Allah Ta'ala even said about Jesus, the son of Mary, and Mary herself, alayhi salam, At-Tahira, where he said in his book, قُلْ فَمَنْ يَمْلِكُ مِنَ اللَّهِ شَيْئًا إِنْ أَرَادَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُهْلِكَ الْمَسِيحَ بْنَ مَرْيَمْ وَأُمَّهُ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, he says, who will own with Allah Ta'ala anything? If Allah wanted to destroy Jesus, the son of Mary, and his mother, and everything in the earth, altogether, who could stop it and who can do anything about it? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So Allah Ta'ala is Aziz. And we said, number one, that the meaning of Aziz, that it's impossible that evil can overtake him. Tabarak wa ta'ala. We also said that the meaning of Aziz is what, everyone? Ahsant. He said, بِمَعْنَ ذِي قَدْرٍ لَا يُشَارِكُ فِيهِ أَحَدٍ. The one who possesses that qadr, that high status, that no one shares it. That high status, that no one shares it. As Allah Ta'ala, as the statement that I said in Usul al-Thalatha, the statement that is a profound statement in Usul al-Thalatha, where he said, in the explanation, when he was giving an explanation, he said this tremendous benefit. He says, فَسَوَّوْا من هو مالك الرقاب بمن خلق من تراب وسووا مالك الأمر كله بمن لا يملك من الأمر شيئا وسووا. I'll say the first part. He says that the polytheists, that they made Allah equal. He said for the one who owns all the necks of the people, meaning he's in charge and in ultimate power of everyone. He says for the one who's created from dirt and mud. He said فَسَوَّوا مَالِكَ الْأَمْرِ كُلِّهِ بِمَنْ لَا يَمْلِكُ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْئًا. And they made equal the one who owns all of the matters to the one who does not own anything in the least. He says وَسَوَّوا الْمُنْعِمْ بِالنِّعَمْ الَّتِي لَا تُعَدُّ وَلَا تُحْصَى بِالْفَقِيرِ الْمُحْتَاجِ الَّذِي لَا يُنْعِمْ وَلَا يُمْكِنْ أَنْ يُنْعِمَ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ. He says they also made equal with the one who bestows the blessings and the bounties, with the one who's always in need, who cannot bestow upon the creation Adam's weight. He says, وَسَوَّوْا النَّاقِص الْكَامِلْ فِي كُلِّ شَيْءٍ بِالنَّاقِص مِنْ كُلِّ وُجُوهٍ. He says you'll find that the people made equal the one who is complete in everything with the one who is incomplete in every way. For the one who's naqis min jami' al-wujuh. For the one who is incomplete in every aspect. He says, so how great is polytheism? How great of oppression is polytheism? And how tremendous it is. So that statement was a profound statement to let everyone know and put in perspective of how polytheism is so great, as far as in its injustice, in its fabrication, and its lie. It's the greatest lie that any human being could commit. There's no lie that is greater than polytheism, because polytheism is a type of lie, it's a type of kiddim, and it's a fabrication. Not only is it a lie, it's a fabrication upon Allah Ta'ala. So the word Aziz also is what? The one who's dhu qadarin la yushariku fihi ahad. No one is the one who has that high status that no one shares it. Also the last one is what, everyone? The one who's al-qahir al-ghallab. The one who's the all-dominant and the all-powerful. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Like we talked about before, we said this is all summed up in the poetry that Ibn al-Qayyim mentions in his Nuniyah. Ibn al-Qayyim, he mentions in Nuniyah, he says, وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ فَلَنْ يَرَامَ جَنَابُهُ أَنَّا يُرَامُ جَنَابُ ذِي السُّلْطَانِ وهو العزيز القاهر الغلاب لم يغلبه شيء هذه صفتان وهو العزيز بقوة هو وصفه فالعز حينئذ ثلاث معاني. He said in his poetry. Al-Aziz, he says, I just mentioned all three of the poetry, the meanings we just mentioned. So that's the meaning of the word Izz or Aziz. All three of those meanings, or the word Aziz, it's comprehensive for all those three we mentioned. That's also what we mentioned in the last class. We also mentioned that the word Jalal, because a person will hear the word Azza wa Jalla. Az means Aziz. Az wa Jalla. The word Jalla or Jalal means what, everyone? The one who's sublime or the one who has sublimity, magnificence, that there's nothing above his magnificence or his sublimity. There's nothing above his. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. طيب. For this is what we mentioned in brief from last class. So if a person hears these statements, Allah Jalla wa Ala, or Jalla Jalaluhu, or Azza wa Jal, they know what the meanings are. So that's what he's saying. Azza wa Jalla, or Jalla fil Ula, the one who's sublime in or above the heavens. When you say Jalla fil Ula, he's the one who does the sublime, who's above the heavens. All those are the meaning of the statements. O Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, may he be blessed and be most high. All those are the meaning of these statements that you hear when people say it. Jalla fil Ula, or Jalla Jalaluhu, or Jalla Dhikruhu, or Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, or Azza wa Jalla, or Jalla wa Azza. That's the meaning of it. طيب. As we go on and mention and say, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa, that Jibreel, that he answers them by saying that Allah says Al-Haq. This word Al-Haq on this statement also means what we have covered in the previous classes, which is what, everyone? That Allah Ta'ala never says Ba'atil at all. That's not what's understood from this. A person would say that he said the truth. So they would say, well, is Allah capable of saying Ba'atil? La. When Jibreel mentioned this is from the aspect of what we say and what they call, what, everyone? They call that Sifatun Kashifa. It's just to put emphasis on it. Not to now say that there's an opposing meaning that Allah, what? He says a statement of what? Ba'atil. That's not the meaning. Allah Ta'ala never, ever will say a what? A statement of Ba'atil, ever. Rather, Allah always says the Haqq. Allah Ta'ala always laid down the haqq. But the meaning of this is what? What they call sifatun kashifa. La mafhuma laha. Ji'a li ajli bayan al-waqi'. لا لأنه يأتي ويتأتى معه المفهوم المخالف لهذا المفهوم الذي يتضمنه هذا النص. As far as it regards to the text, it's not understood of what a person might think that Allah is capable of saying some type of what? Falsehood. That's not the meaning. The meaning is that it was brought for emphasis. That Allah only, most definitely and always says the what? The truth. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That's the meaning of it. So that's another example of what they call sifatun kashifa. Is it clear what I'm saying so far? Type. For example, another example. That Allah did not oppress them. However, they, the slaves themselves, oppressed them, or rather the slaves, they oppressed themselves. Type. That's another example to show that what? What they call sifatun kashifa. Allah did not oppress them. Allah Ta'ala never oppresses anyone. Rather, Allah Himself said that what? He has made oppression upon Himself forbidden. He says, Ya ibadi inni harramtu dhulma ala nafsi wa ja'adtuhu muharrama bainakum fala tadhalamu. Oh, my servants, I have made a dhulm, or injustice, He says, forbidden upon myself. Type. All those is the different types of characteristics, and we have many examples of Quran of what they call sifatun kashifa. We already covered that, right, everyone? Fine. So the next sadisa, the sixth matter, that the first one who raises his head is what? Is Jibreel. Is Jibreel. When he heard the revelation, or the revelation was given to him by Allah, when he heard the revelation, or the speech. This right here, Ya Ma'ashul Ikhwa, this text, is to also likewise to affirm what we said in the previous classes. That Allah, when He speaks, and it's a part of His essence, and it's also a part of His what? His actions. Look to the hadith. Let's stop drawing that. Stop doing that. Look to the hadith. It says that the first one who lifts his head, meaning after he heard the revelation that was sent down, is Jibreel. How do we extract that? So number one, let's go back to what we discussed. We said that the speech of Allah is part of His what? His essence and what? His actions, both. Didn't we mention that? We said that the speech of Allah is connected with His essence and His actions. And that we said is also old in its type, and it happens from one time to the next. Happen from one time to the next is very important for everyone to understand. Hold on to that belief as in pertaining to the speech of Allah. Meaning that Allah Ta'ala speaks at a time when it particularly happens for Him to speak. Meaning, for example, that when Allah Ta'ala, here Jibreel, when he raised his head, before that he did not what? He did not raise his head until he heard the revelation. Meaning at that particular time, when the revelation and Allah said it, Jibreel fell in what? Fell in prostration or out of fear. Then he raised his head at that particular time. Before that, it did not happen until Allah Ta'ala what? At that particular time, heard the speech and heard that what? Revelation that was given to him. Similar to that, like we said, what happened with Musa. Musa did not hear the voice of Allah until he came to the mountain. When he came to the mountain, he heard the voice of Allah. Why are we saying this? Because the Mu'tazila and the Sha'ira, they all, the Mu'tazila we say, the Jahmiyyah, that they say that all of this happened at the same time. There's no such thing as when the speech of Allah happened from one time to the next. That doesn't exist. It all happens simultaneously. That Allah Ta'ala spoke to Musa, and spoke to Prophet ﷺ, or spoke to Ibrahim, or all the other prophets, or Adam, all at the same time. Meaning they spoke to them, you'll find that the speech of what they say, تَكَلَّمَ مَعَهُمْ فِي الْأَزَلِ. They spoke to them in the eternal realm, where he did it all at the same time. Which is absolute nonsense and with no dalil, with no evidence that supports that belief. And it's confusing, and it causes doubt. So notice that it says in the hadith that Jibreel did not raise his head until he heard the what? The speech, the revelation. So it happened at a particular time where it took place. Then Jibreel raised his head. Which shows and confirms what we mentioned and said, that the speech of Allah is what? It's old and it's tight, meaning absolute oldness, meaning that it's part of his essence. That's what it means. And we said that it's hadithatul ahad. That happens from one time to the next, meaning that it's connected with the actions of Allah, meaning Allah does it when He wills. How He wills, when He wills, and He does it to whom He wills. If He wants to hear His speech. From the prophets and messengers, of course. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? That's clear. Allah Ta'ala speaks to whom He wills, how He wills, in a manner He wills. To whom He wills, from His ibad, and from them who He speaks to, or who has heard His voice, is the prophets. So here in this this particular benefit that Jibreel answers them after he hears the revelation, not before. According to the Asha'ira and the Mu'tazila, that was already done, meaning it happened simultaneously. Also likewise, from the confusing beliefs of the Mu'tazila, when Allah Ta'ala talks about certain affairs that would take place on the day of resurrection, based upon their belief, they saying basically that already happened. For example, in the Quran now, you see how you're looking at me? Basically, for example, the ayahs where you see that Allah says in this book, on the day when they are all gathered together, and we will gather such and such and such, to the end of the ayah, right everyone? Based upon the belief of the Mu'tazila, that already happened. That already took place. And we will say to them such and such. Or that Allah will speak to Jesus and say such and such. Based upon the belief of the Mu'tazila, that already happened. That Allah spoke in the azal, in the eternal, so-called eternal realm. And so all this already happened. Based upon their belief. It doesn't make any sense. So what they do is, but just to gather and sum it up, they affirm the belief, or the aspect as far as it being what? As far as it being from His essence. And negated it from it being His what? Action. That's how they fell into misguidance. That's the reason why they fell into this type of what? Errors. And these type of what? These type of perils that are very, very dangerous. And because, like we said, it brings confusion. So they basically affirmed it for being from Allah's essence, and He negated it from being from Allah's what? Action. Meaning that Allah speaks when He wills. They negated that. Did away with it. No, we don't believe that. So they say basically it's part of His essence only, which necessitates that He what? Did it simultaneously, all together, which absolutely doesn't make any sense. So that's the reason why you'll find that Ahlul Sunnah always say, as far as the speech of Allah, it's qadim al-naw' hadithatul ahad. It's old and it's tight, meaning Allah has the ability to speak. It was always there. And He does it when He wills, meaning it's connected with His action. At the time when He what? Does it, and when He does it, and how He does it, and to whom He wants, whom He wills. Tabarak wa ta'ala. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? So the speech of Allah is connected with His essence, and it's what? His actions. Or you could say it's old and it's tight, and it happens from what? One time to the next. What do you mean by old and it's tight? Meaning that the ability was there. It was always there. Qadim al-naw'. Qadim al-naw' means absolute oldness. Absolute oldness just means it has no beginning. As far as the ability to do it. It had no beginning. But as far as in regards to the speech, then is what? It happens from one time to the next. Just to sum up, don't write this down because I don't want anybody to get confused. Just to let you know how high of a level it gets. They say the reason why that they reject the fact that Allah does it from one time to the next is because of this. Just put your pens down. They say because everything that's hadith is makhluq. They say that everything that's hadith is makhluq. Everything that happens from one time to the next is created. That's the reason why they say it's what? It's created. That's what they say. Everything that happens from one time to the next is created. Right. We say in regards to that, as Ibn al-Qayyim refuted this, he said that everything that's created happens from one time to the next, but not everything that happens from one time to the next is created. Now everything makes sense. He said everything that's created happens from one time to the next, but not everything. Not everything that happens from one time to the next is created. That's the speech of Allah. I'll say it again. Everything that's created happens from one time to the next. Had a beginning, had an ending, right or wrong. Not everything that happens from one time to the next is created. From those things that happen from one time to the next that's not created is the speech of Allah. Is it clear what I'm saying? See how Ahl Sunnah, when they say things, it's easy. Person that makes sense. The people of Ahl Batil, when they come, they're the ones that cause confusion. All of this was understood clearly until they came with this nonsense, and then Ahl Sunnah had to come behind and defend it in order for the people to receive the proper what? Belief. So that's the reason why they came with this type of speech that I'm saying, in order to defend what was correct, so that people would be properly guided. Because the type of nonsense they came with, the type of atrocities they came with, causes danger, which is doubt, and as a result of doubt, one meeting a law upon doubt, and even being subjected to what? To deviation, or if worse, apostation. You understand what I'm saying, everyone? Because that's what these type of beliefs inherit. They inherit doubt, instability in a religion, and the most dangerous of all affairs, apostation. So just to come up back to everything, we said that Jibreel said he lifts his head when he hears the what? Revelation. So you could put a benefit in saying that is a clear example to show that the speech of Allah happens from one time to the next. Meaning it happens, it was connected with his will, if you want to say. Meaning it's connected with his actions. That Allah speaks when he wills. Because Jibreel did not lift the head up until what? Until he heard the speech of Allah, heard the revelation. But that type of prostration, him falling and putting his head to the ground, did not happen until that time happened of when he heard the what? The time, or the revelation. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? It's clear. G. The sixth, we already covered that. The seventh, أنه يقول لأهل السماوات كلهم لأنهم يسألونه. He says then, يقول لأهل السماوات كلهم لأنهم يسألونه. Then he says and informs the inhabitants of the heavens, meaning the angels. Why? Because they ask him. Meaning the angels of each heaven ask Jibreel. That they ask Jibreel. All of this is also to put emphasis to show what, everyone, like we just mentioned and said in the classes, that the angels have what? They have hearts, they have intellects, they comprehend, and they understand. And like we said, if they, as Ibn Uthaymin, the great Imam, rahimahullah, rahmatu wasi'ah, mentioned and said, if that was the case, that the angels have no comprehension, that would necessitate mockery and ridiculement of the religion. That we took the religion from people who have no minds, or have no intellects and comprehension, which is false, and is rejected. Which is a clear indication that the angels what? That the angels understand, and that the angels what, everyone? They comprehend, and they understand. And you have different characteristics, like we said, in different scenarios, in different contexts, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly states that when he asks them certain questions, they give an answer to show that they understand, they comprehend. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? And that they also seek forgiveness for those in the earth. The angels also ask Allah for forgiveness for certain people on the earth, for the people of Tawheed, the people of Sunnah. The angels ask forgiveness for them, as it comes in the book of Allah and in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It's one ayah as it says, وَالَّذِينَ يَحْمِلُونَ الْعَرْشَ يُسَبِّحُونَ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ وَيُؤْمِنُونَ بِهِ وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, as Allah says in His book. وَيَسْتَغْفِرُونَ لِمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ, that they seek forgiveness for those in the earth. It's talking about the angels. And also the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, it said that the student of knowledge, يَسْتَغْفِرُ لَهُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ حَتَّى الْحِيتَانُ فِي الْبَحْرِ. He says that the student of knowledge, who's taking knowledge, everything in the heavens and the earth, what? Supplicates for him and seeks his forgiveness. Even the fish in the sea. The student of knowledge. So that's to show what, everyone? That the angels comprehend and understand and seek forgiveness. All this shows what? That they have these characteristics. طيب. Also likewise, it shows that the angels, al-ghashyu ya'umu ahl as-samawat kullahum, that they're rendered unconscious or unconsciousness. What does it say in your books, everyone? Just to, what does it say? Al-ghashyu. How do they translate it? No, the eighth matter. What they call it, the shock effect. That became a state of shock. All right, we'll give them that. Even though al-ghashyu means to be rendered unconscious, because it comes from the word ghushiya alayh. Ghushiya alayh means like to pass out or to be like to just be rendered like in a state of it could be a state of shock. But it also could mean, like I said, render unconscious. He said that the angels, that they what? Are in a state of fear or they state of shock, or if you want to say they're rendered unconscious. He says, and that covers all the inhabitants of the heavens, all of them. Which is to show also likewise that the angels themselves are what? Are afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though they have this high status. They are still in fear, they still are afraid. And they're still in a state of horror and fright. And they asked Jibreel of what did Allah Ta'ala said. So it's to show that the angels themselves, despite of their great magnificent creation, if we know of what Allah Ta'ala has given us details in the authentic sunnah, as we talked about, even Jibreel himself is magnificent, his creation. Tremendous and magnificent. And Allah Ta'ala even described Jibreel as being, he's also mighty and powerful. ذُو قُوَّةٍ عِنْدَ ذِي الْعَرْشِ مَكِينٍ مُطَاعٍ ثَمَّ أَمِينٍ, as Allah describes Jibreel. As Allah Ta'ala says in his book, in Surah At-Tawheed, Allah Ta'ala describes Jibreel as what? He says about him, he says مُطَاعٍ ثَمَّ أَمِينٍ. You could go back to the ayah before that, where he says ta'ala about Jibreel, he says that Jibreel is from those who is also trustworthy, and he is mighty. ذُو قُوَّةٍ عِنْدَ ذِي الْعَرْشِ مَكِينٍ. Allah says that he's mighty and powerful. ذُو قُوَّةٍ. And he's mateen. ذِي الْعَرْشِ مَكِينٍ. You'll find that some of the narrations of the Sahaba, that they said that the Jibreel can pass of the angel, he can pass, as Ibn Kathir mentions. He says that Abu Salih mentioned the ayah that Jibreel can enter, that Jibreel he can enter سبعين حجابا من نور بغير إذنه تبارك وتعالى أو بغير إذن. That Jibreel, that he enters in the 70 hijab, the 70 of the light of the hijab of Allah, of the 70 of light without any permission, as Ibn Kathir mentions about As-Salih. And that is the meaning of the ayah that I just mentioned, which is in Surah At-Tawheed, where it says, the one who is strong and mighty. He says, by the arsh, which is makeen, that he's what? He's also able to do certain things that others are not. If you go back to the tafsir, Ibn Kathir mentioned this, that Jibreel can enter into what? 70 hijab, of 70, of light, of the light of Allah Ta'ala, without any permission. Meaning he has to be strong and powerful to do that. So Jibreel, that he has this type of what? Might and powerful magnificence. And despite of that, please don't check behind the tafsir. Not now, everyone. But this is to show how magnificent and powerful that Jibreel is. And we talked about how big he is and how magnificent his creation is. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned and said that he has 600 wings, that each wing what? Fills the horizon. That's how big and powerful and magnificent his creation is. And despite of that, Jibreel is even in horror and afraid of Allah Ta'ala. Where you find that Sheikh Abdurrahman ibn Hassan al-Sheikh even mentioned in his book that he said that if this is Jibreel, and this is his status, that is high and powerful and mighty and great in his magnificence and beautiful in his creation, and despite of that, he is still in awe and horror and fright of Allah Ta'ala. Hold up, is it time? Okay. So if this is the case with Jibreel, of him being this high status, how is it that you can now take a human being who's of less status and worship him, even though the angels don't still worship Allah and is still in fright and horror and fear of him Ta'ala? And that's the reason why he put this in the chapter. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? I'm about to call you then. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتنا الوسيلة فضيلة. Caden, what you had to do something? So that was why he was talking about the chair, huh? Oh, that was a good one. He concealed himself behind the chair. Don't you do that. طيب. العاشر, the 10. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. 9. ارتجاف السماوات بكلام الله. He says the shaking of what? The heavens due to the speech of Allah. As we talked about, everything in the heavens and the earth glorifies Allah. And they have some type of ihsas. They have some type of sense, right, everyone? The 10th. أن جبريل هو الذي ينتهي بالوحي إلى حيث أمره الله. That Jibreel, he is the one that stops, or he ينتهي بالوحي. That he brings the revelation at the point of where Allah Ta'ala commands. How do they translate it in your books out of curiosity? How do they translate it? Oh, that's how they translate it? Okay. طيب. So Jibreel is the one that what? brings the revelation. Why did the great Imam and Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab mention this? As we talked about, this is a refutation against who, everyone? Rawafid, Shia, that say that Jibreel Khan al-Amin kama yaqulun. Khan al-Amin fasaddaha an haydara. As they say in a statement. Alayhim min Allah ma yastahiqun. They said that the one who was trustworthy was treacherous. That's what they say about Jibreel. He said he took it away from the lion, who was Ali. He said fasaddaha an haydara. He took it away from the lion, who's Ali. So he's saying basically that what? That Jibreel made a mistake. That's what they say. How could Jibreel make a mistake when he's entrusted with the wahi and he only does it based upon what Allah commands? And they say he made a mistake. Certain things that Shia makes, it just doesn't make absolute any sense. It's just absolute blasphemy. At any rate, the 11th is what, everyone? We have a lot of Masail. I didn't even see it. What's the 11th? He said that the shayateen, he said that they eavesdrop. That the shayateen eavesdrop. Rather, they try to steal what is what? They try to steal by hearing something that has been predestined or the divine, has been decreed. They try to what? Steal it. They try to steal it. And they give it to their what? To their awliya, from those who are with them, from the magicians, or those who claim to have the unseen, or claim to have knowledge of the unseen, from what, everyone? From the soothsayers or fortune tellers, or those who practice utilizing the shayateen for their dirty work. What is it? Athani Ashar 12. He said that they also mount on top of each other. The shayateen also mount on top of each other. And and also likewise the meaning of shooting stars. As we know, the shooting stars are what? Are missiles to shoot down the shayateen. The shooting stars are missiles to shoot down the shayateen. Type. The 14th, excuse me. Hold on, I'm sorry. Which is clear. I think that's clear, right, everyone? They said sometimes he'll convey it before the star actually reaches him. And sometimes, before he convey it, the star will actually strike him before he conveys it. Which is also, all this is these evidences and proofs, everyone, to show what, everyone? That these affairs take place in the heavens. So it's not everywhere. It's in a specific place, which is above us. All these are proofs that Ibn al-Qayyim mentioned to show that Allah is above. Because all these different types of scenarios and what was mentioned here takes place at where, everyone? Above us. Clearly. A shooting star, what does that happen? Above us. But they'll try to say Allah is everywhere. So all these heavens and the shayateen being stacked upon one another, on top of one another. If Allah was everywhere, and the heavens was everywhere, and the angels was everywhere, why did they have to stack upon and go up to hear something or steal something of revelation? So all these are benefits that you utilize in order to show and establish clearly that Allah Ta'ala is above. And likewise, when Jibreel descends with the revelation. Why does Jibreel have to descend? Why does Jibreel have to descend with the revelation when he brought it down? Because Allah's above. He brought it down from coming above. All these things, su'ud, nuzul, these things of dissension, or certain affairs that descend, of the angels ascending, or Jibreel descending. All this is to show what, everyone? Allah's above. Because where is all these different things taking place? The distance of 500 years from one heaven to another. That's everywhere? It's above. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So all these are factors that clearly show and state that Allah Ta'ala is above. And that is something of a keynote that everyone should what? To be very, very attentive of and aware of these narrations. Because the belief of that Allah is above is something that is not only being rejected. Rather, people are making war with this type of ideologies, even though they say they're Muslim. Oh, this is not a fair, don't get into that. Yaqi, this is from the usul of what makes you a Muslim, different from the foundation of what makes you a Muslim. From these type of foundation. How can you think you can have surety in religion and you don't even know you have surety with your Lord of where He is, tabarak wa ta'ala? So if now your foundation is built upon that, that's going to cause doubt. Right. So it goes on to say, كون الكاهن يصدق بعض الأحيان يصدق بعض الأحيان, that the actual fortune teller, sometimes he tells the truth. What does he mean by that? Meaning that it's not permissible to go to a what? Fortune teller. It's not permissible, of course, but there is certain things. He's just given a reality that they do sometimes tell you some type of what? Truth. It does happen. Based upon what they receive from the shayateen, who put in it, along with it, as we know, what everyone? 100 lies. But we say 100 lies is not only restricted, it could be less or it could be what? It could be more. طيب. What was the 17th? أنه لم يصدق كذبه إلا بتلك الكلمة التي سمعت من السماء. What does it say? How did they translate your books? Hold on, I'm sorry. Now, this is to also show what, everyone? How the shayateen mislead the people. Anyone who comes to mislead you has to bring some type of what? Truth. Otherwise, you're not going to what? You're not going to accept it from them. So the mischievous and the most dangerous of people are those who what? Bring some type of what? Truth to misguide you. And that's the same thing as the callers of what, everyone? From the deviant sects, from the callers of falsehood, do the exact same thing. They're similar to the shayateen of how they reveal to the what? To the soothsayer fortune tellers. Where they give them some type of truth, where they'll convey it to those who come to them to read their palms, so you can believe them, so they can misguide you. Because if they totally give you falsehood, you're just saying that's a bunch of nonsense. What are you talking about? You probably bust out laughing. Right, everyone? But so they come with something of truth so they can misguide you. And that's similar to also likewise, what? The callers of innovations who come with these type of beliefs and corrupt ideologies that Allah is not above. Rather, He's what? He's everywhere. Those type of callers, or those who call it that type of calling, also likewise receive revelation from the shayateen. What's the proof of that? The proof of that, for example, that the Quran was created. The Quran was created is inspiration from the shayateen. I gave this author, which the great Imam Abu Bakr al-Ajurri, that he mentioned in his book called Sharia. We said what happened to that, the Imam, Yahya Zimmi. I told everyone this story. Yahya Zimmi, that Imam Abu Bakr al-Ajurri mentioned Kitaab al-Sharia. That he said that Yahya Zimmi was in one of the lands of what we know now. Anyway, Yahya Zimmi came upon the land. And he said that he came upon something that was scary of a jinn. I told everyone this story. He said he seen something that he was about to what? He became prepared to fight it. And the jinn said, Yahya Zimmi, if I knew you was in here, I would not have came here. So he even said, he even made dua against the jinn or what he saw, the shaitan that he said, La hayyak Allah. He said, may Allah not give you long life. What do you want? Yahya Zimmi said this to the shaitan. He says, I just came from a place where I left a khalifa. I left a successor. So Yahya Zimmi is like, who's the successor you left? He said, I just came back and I left a successor for me. He said, who? He said, Bishop Marisi. Bishop Marisi, the one who says that the Quran is created. He said, I left him and I came to him. He said, you came from this place. He told him this is what he did. He says, so your successor is what? Somebody from Ahl Bid'ah calling to the what? That the Quran is created. So Shaitan was the one who inspired him with his what? Belief. So at any rate, Yahya Zimmi said, what do you believe? Yahya Zimmi said this to this Shaitan. So the Shaitan, his name was, he said, my name is Abu Murrah. It's a type of Shaitan. He said, my name is Abu Murrah. He says, so Yahya Zimmi said, what do you believe? Even though you call into this. Or you left your successor calling to this nonsense. He says, as for me, I believe that the speech of Allah is not created. I believe that the Quran is the speech of Allah and it's not created. So this Shaitan believed in the correct belief. Even though he's inspiring and encouraging everyone to what? Embrace falsehood. So this type of belief of that the Quran was created was inspiration from what? From a Shaitan. From a Shaitan that what? Inspired another type of human being that answered this call and called to him. Who was? Bishr al-Marisi. Who was left, in which he extracted that type of belief of what? From the Shaitan. So the Shaitan will come and inspire these type of people to call you to falsehood. But they always have to bring some type of truth in order to mislead you from Kitaab or Sunnah. So at first they tell you something like that, then over time they start to what? Incorporate their poison. That is due to the ayah, as Allah Ta'ala says in this book, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ مَا فَعَلُوا فَذَرْهُمْ وَمَا يَفْتَرُونَ. He says, just like we have made, and this is in the book of Allah, Surah Al-A'raf, Allah says, likewise we have made for every prophet an enemy from the shayateen, from the human beings and the jinn, that they inspire one another to adorn and decorate their speech to misguide you and mislead you. This is Surah Al-A'raf. I don't know the number right now. I'll give it to you later. He says a decorated speech to misguide you, to allure you, decorate it, and to misguide you. If your Lord had willed, they would not do it. But leave off what they fabricate. In order that the people who listen to that nonsense, listen to this, Allah gives a description of the people in his ear to this nonsense. Of those who do not believe in Allah on the last day. لِتَصْغَى إِلَيْهِ أَفْئِدَةً, the hearts of those who do not believe in Allah on the last day. أَفْئِدَةُ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ, who do not believe in Allah, who do not believe in the last day. لِتَصْغَى إِلَيْهِ أَفْئِدَةُ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ, they don't believe in the hereafter. وَلِتَرْضَوْهُ وَلِيَقْتَرِفُوا مَا هُمْ مُقْتَرِفُونَ. This is just a description to show, Ya Ma'ashul Ikhwa, that the shayateen inspired soothsayers, fortune tellers, magicians that practice magic, and those who are callers of falsehood, who call to the ideology such as that the Quran is created, or, for example, that Allah is not above, or that Allah is everywhere, or that Allah doesn't have certain characteristics, or that Allah doesn't speak, rather it's inward speech. All this is ilham and inspiration of the shayateen that he gives to certain human beings. They come with some decorated speech, or they come with something of Kitaab and Sunnah to misguide you and mislead you. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? J. What's the 9th? What's the 18th? Now listen to this part. It even confirms what we just mentioned. Listen to the 18th. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Amir. جيد. قبول النفوس للباطل كيف يتعلقون بواحدة ولا يعتبرون بمئة. Look to how peoples themselves, they accept falsehood, and how they can be connected with one type of what? One aspect of what is considered the truth, and they ignore 100 of what? Lies. By how that one little thing they can what? They'll stick to. Spoke some truth, not realizing that he's a habitual what? Liar. So if a person is a habitual liar, well, he spoke the truth here, but still I'm not what? I'm still not taking from him he's a liar. Because that's his habit. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? جيد. Now listen to what it says. التاسع عشر كونهم يتلقى بعضهم من بعض تلك الكلمة ويحفظونها ويستدلون بها. He says that they take from each other that particular word that's the truth, and then they try to what? Memorize it. Then they'll use it as an evidence. What? In order to mislead the people and beguile them and mislead them. Is it clear what I'm saying so far, everyone? جيد. The 20th مسألة إثبات الصفات خلافا للأشعرية المعطلة. The affirmation of the characteristics that were mentioned in these texts. Number 1, the speech of Allah. Number 2, the aboveness of Allah. Number 3, that Allah is Kabir, and that Allah is Aziz, and He's also Dhul Jalal. And all those characteristics we affirm. In contrast to the Asha'ira. The Asha'ira who could clearly negate that Allah is above. Like we talked about, the Asha'ira clearly will tell you to your face, we do not believe Allah is above the heavens. At all. They are frank in that regard. The Allah is not above the heavens. Taib Asha'ira, where are they? He exists without a place, or He's everywhere. Taib. If that's the case, what did the message of Allah, why did He point up on the day of the conquest of Mecca, on the farewell Hajj, or the farewell pilgrimage? The message of Allah looked up and pointed. Oh Allah, bear witness, oh Allah, bear witness, oh Allah, bear witness. All these different texts that affirm what? Clearly that Allah is what? Above. The fact that Jibreel descended with the revelations, it says in the book of Allah, نَزَلَ بِهِ الرُّوحُ الْأَمِينَ. The one who's the true spirit, Jibreel, descended with it. What does descension necessitate, everyone? It came from down, it came from above. What about when the ayah of Allah says, O Jesus the son of Mary, Ya Isa ibn Maryam, Inni rafi'uka ilay. Verily, I'm going to raise you to me. وَمُطَهِّرُكَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And I'm going to purify for those who disbelieve. أَنَا رَافِعُكَ إِلَيْ. I'm going to raise you to me. All this of su'ud wa nuzul and things that go up and go down, and all this necessitates what, everyone? Allah's above. طيب. The last thing, الحادي والعشرون, so we can finish this off. أن تلك الرجفة والغشية خوفا من الله عز وجل. أن تلك الرجفة والغشية خوفا من الله عز وجل. طيب. He says that shake or that quiver, or that shock. He said all of it is out of fear of Allah Ta'ala, meaning the angels. Not only the angels, but even the heavens itself shake and quiver out of fear of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. All of the heavens and the earth, the heavens here and the angels and everything that's in the inhabitants, all become in a state of shock and horror and fear of Him Subhanahu wa Ta'ala fil ula. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب, last, الثانية والعشرون, هذا آخر شيء ثم نقف عنده. أنهم يخرون لله سجدا. That they all fall to Allah in what? Prostration. So people who fall down in prostration, are they deserving to be worshipped? واضح. الذي يخر لله ساجدا هل يستحق العبادة؟ لا يستحق. Whether it be from the malaika or from the anbiya or whether from the what? From the salihin, no matter who it is. وَهَلُمَ جَرَّةً. It doesn't matter who it is. Anybody who falls to Allah in prostration does not deserve to be worshipped. Rather they are what? Rather they've been given the duty of worshiping, not being worshipped. Is it clear, everyone? All these affairs make sense. Now if you go to Christianity and hear some of the things they say, it's like, Jesus prostrated. So that means He did worship. So if He did worship, how is He God and He's the one that's worshipped, but He's doing the worshiping? That doesn't make any sense. Confusing. Is it clear? But when you hear Salafiyya, clear Aqidah, Salafiyya, Sleep makes sense. It's clear. Crystal clear. It's clear, everyone? Fine. We'll stop here, inshallah. Anything, any question about the lesson? بقي عندكم سؤال أو بعض الأسئلة؟ نجيب عنها. تفضلوا. What is it? Uh-huh. So that's a lot of ayats. The angels. It's a sort of ride. It's a sort of ride. Huh? It's all the same. It's all connected. That's a sort of ride. It's in there. I know exactly what you're talking about. Any questions? Kaden, don't try to hide behind the chair next time. Even though you're tired. What you had a question, Kaden? I can't hear you. Look, the shayateen are only for of who's been coupled with us as a qareen. You're talking about the hadith of the Prophet says, Sahih Muslim. He said, ما منكم من أحد إلا وله قرين. قالوا حتى أنت يا رسول الله قال حتى أنا إلا أعاني الله عليه فأسلم. He said that there's none from amongst you. He said that he's been paired up with a qareen, meaning a shaitan. يحاول يغويه, meaning he just whispers. That's it. But he has no control of your body, of your actions. He's a whisper and he tempts. You understand? Unless you've been possessed by a shaitan, is something different. But that's the only function of the shaitan. Or something that's been paired up to tempt you, to be as a test for you, as an imtihan or mihna, to see if you're going to obey it or disobey it. There's also angels too we have that protects you. We'll talk about that later. I'll get into it. But at any rate, when a person is asked, the shayateen have nothing to do with when you are being asked those questions in the grave. Nothing. You are responsible for your own self now. Is it clear what I'm saying? Hold on. Any other question? The inward thoughts. Mm. That's because you're uttering still the statement. Because if you notice in the salat and who's legislated, a person still utters the words. Like they just say it whispering, but they still utter it. So it's still words. Mm-hmm. Not supposed to use them your inward thought. When you're reciting the silent prayer, it's supposed to be low. Because you notice that it says in the narrations, the Prophet ﷺ, that he says sometimes yusmi'uhum kalima. That sometimes the Messenger of Allah used to let them hear a word or two in the silent prayers. So still it's done with the what? It's still verbally done. It's just done real in a whisper and a low, real low. So it's not inward thoughts. Is it clear what I'm saying? No one when you pray dhuhr or asr, you like this. That's ignorant. You still have to utter the words. You still have to recite. Just low. You used to see his beard move, and he used to let him hear a word or two. So let you know he still did it what? Verbally with words. It's not inward thoughts. Is it clear? Clear or not? Father Jaffa.
The word you said is in the book,
Yeah,
here
they didn't put it in there. Here I said that they fall out unconscious. Here it says they put it they in a state of shock. But here it says sa'iq. It says sa'iq. No, it says in the narration, sa'aqu. Sa'q. Sa'q means to be rendered out, knocked out. For sa'iqu. No, they translated shock, I think. Shock. Absolutely. we could say that Allah is shooting down the shayateen. No doubt. Anything else? هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك